Hello everyone, I'm Ben, and in this video we're going to be creating a studio lighting setup using Redshift Renderer in Maya. Okay, let's get to it. So first things first, let's come on over and make sure that we're in our modeling toolkit. And from the poly modeling shelf, I'm going to create a plane, and it's very small. You can see I've got a kettle here that I'd like to set in the scene that's already been textured. So I've got my plane here, which I'll just double click in my outliner to rename ground. Or I could be a little bit more proper and call it cyclorama. Alright, with that done, I'm going to press R on the keyboard and click that middle cube to scale it up. And I'll scale it up lots and lots and lots. Now, assuming that we're working in centimeters, you can see over here that a scale of 300 is going to equate to about 3 meters. And so perhaps I will type that in. And what's important down here is that I open up my inputs and under polyplane, change the subdivision width and height. I'm going to drop these down to 1 and 1. Okay, lovely. Now with that done, what I want to do is I want to have this back, or the back curve up here. So what I'm going to do is go to my mesh tools and insert edge loop and just choose that. And I'll put one in that's sitting just behind my kettle. And then I'll put in another one that's sitting about the midpoint. And you can put in at the midpoint if you like, that's great. I'm going to go back to my move tool, press W on the keyboard, select the edge at the end here, pull this up quite a bit, and so that it's just about as high as this base is long. And at that point I can say, alright, I'm going to get this edge now in the middle here, and I want to just round it out using a bevel. So I'll go to my edit mesh and choose bevel, and there it is. Okay, with the fraction, I'm going to run that up to just about the maximum available amount. And the segments, I'll run that up to 12. Okay, that should be good. I'll right click and choose object mode. And with that set, I've got my stage set, my cyclorama. And if I like, I can make it a little bigger and it'll accommodate larger scenes, cars, planes, and all that good stuff. Okay, so the next thing is to jump on over to our Redshift tab, and we're going to create some lights. So the first one is creating an area light. So I'm going to click it. It's going to be created at the origin, and I'm just going to scale this one up 50 times. All right, there it is, looking nice and bright. I'm now going to move it, so I'll press W on the keyboard for my move gizmo, and shift it over to the left. You can see I'm moving it about, I'll move it minus 150 centimeters. There we go. I'll lift it up so that it's sitting just about above the ground. That looks good. You can see that a translation of 50 will work. And the next thing I'll do is just choose my rotate tool. I'll press E on the keyboard, hold J on the keyboard to snap that. Lovely. And just rotate it so that it's facing the kettle or whatever object you have. I'm going to press Ctrl D to duplicate the area light, W to move it, and this time I'm just going to, that translates very close to 150, so I might as well just type it in. And I'm going to rotate this one now. Press E on the keyboard, hold J on the keyboard, and spin it around. Okay, nice. So now I've got these lights and they're shining at this kettle. And last thing I'm going to do is create the last light that goes at the top. So I'm just going to press Ctrl D on this light one more time, and I'll move this one up so that it's basically sitting over my object of interest. Lovely. Press E, hold J on the keyboard, rotate it down, and I'd like it to be twice as long as it is right now so that there's a lot of coverage over the top here. So at the moment you can see that if I scale it, if I press R on the keyboard and scale it on this axis, over here it's on the Y. So I'll just go to my Y and choose 100 units. Lovely. Now, just to see how this is looking, I'm going to go to Redshift and choose Redshift Render View. And let's see how this one's looking. That was from my previous one. And all right, here we are. So we can see that it's a little bit bright. Maybe the sun has been brought into the room, so we just need to select a light. And over here you can see we've got the intensity at 100. I'll drop that down to 1. You can also use your attribute editor to do this. I'll select the other one and select the intensity to 1, or set the intensity to 1, and grab the one overhead and set the intensity to 2. Well, that all of a sudden is looking much more reasonable. So lastly, if you like, you can go and select this cyclorama material, or this cyclorama in the back, and I'm going to assign a new material. I will choose a redshift shader, and that redshift shader will be a redshift material. Lovely. And so if I go, right click, there it is, RS Material 6, I'll call this cyclorama. Okay, all done. Next thing, I just need to change my diffuse so that it's a little bit brighter. And I'm just going to rough up the surface a little bit so that it's not quite so glossy, maybe even a little bit more. Okay, that's looking pretty nice. I might even just take this light at the top and bump the intensity up to 3. And that's more to my liking. And we can get a nice warm, cool split between the side area lights if we just select one, and instead of the mode being color, I'm actually going to change it to temperature. I just like working in temperature sometimes. And I'll make this one cool, so I'll crank the temperature up to 9,000 Kelvin. And then I'll grab this one on the left, and I'll set that to temperature as well, and drop this one down to 3,000 Kelvin. So it's a bit warm. Nice. All right, cool. Well, hey presto, we've got some lighting on our kettle. And if you have any questions or comments, pop them in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next video.